a lot of appreciation in the global community of India's response to Pakistan, particularly the drone swarm and missile attack, a lot like what Israelis have faced from Palestine and Hamas. Your first thoughts of what you know and what you've heard and what you make of the Indian success in this regard?
Well, I think we already have a step forward in what was clearly building for a long time, a cooperation between Israel and India, both in arms development and in strategic development, and thinking about how to fight not just terrorism, but to fight ideologies that are organized, in the case of Pakistan, in an entire country, in the case of the Palestinians, an entire people, who are engaged essentially in ideologies that seek not to build for themselves, but are more focused on destroying what others have built. And I think we're seeing the making of what I believe will be in the coming decade a stronger and stronger partnership.
In your book, The War of Return, you do talk about how this whole Palestinian cause of the return to their land is basically a front for the destruction of Israel. I don't want to compare the two situations completely, but in India, we do know that the very reason of being for Pakistan is an anti-India sentiment. They talk of jihad, their army talks of jihad, and how the two people are completely different. In that sense, we also do feel that it is not so much about the Kashmir issue that Pakistan tries to talk about in the international realm. What is really at the bottom of it is a hate for India. How do you see this?
So certainly on what I'm an expert on, which is the Palestinian issue, everything that they've ever mentioned, the issue of what they call refugee return, but none of the people who are called refugees are actually refugees. They do not possess a legal right of to settle inside Israel, but they claim they do. What I've discovered in my research is that these are all proxies for the ideology that is at the core of it, which refuses to accept that the Jewish people as a people have the right to self-determination and to a state in any part of the land of Israel. It's not about it being smaller or bigger or including that territory or this territory. It's about a complete denial that has also basic in Islamist thought and rejectionism that unfortunately also gets support sometimes from bizarre Western ideas that just denies completely what used to be understood as the obvious right of the Jewish people to self-determination, and engages in a constant process of erasure, erasing that the Jews are a people, that they have a connection to the land of Israel, and like you mentioned, using a lot of issues like refugees who are not refugees and return, which is not a right, as proxies for that greater ideology.
Do you feel India faces the same in some ways?
Again, I'm no expert on India, but what I've seen in my research is that you see these themes of Islamism, of rejection of other peoples, of the rights of other peoples, of the idea that people basically have a connection to a land, a history there, and therefore have the right to self-determination. I do know that India and Israel, certainly as democracies who are threatened, which is not something you have a lot in the world today. One of the problems we have with a lot of Western democracies is that they actually forgot what it's like to be a threatened democracy. And this is something that both India and Israel share and understand. And I think that's the reason that we're seeing the elements of a stronger partnership and alliance being built.